locations or call 935-6605.
Make this school year their strongest yet. Book your child's back to school or sports physical today at SIU Center for Family Medicine in Lincoln. Keep them healthy, focused, and ready for success. Find out more by clicking their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police splatter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
News time, 9 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Friday. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded 7 o'clock newscast brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and brought to you by Connexus, providing fiber internet to Clinton. Learn more at DeWittDailyNews.com. It's been about a year since the DeWitt County Board established an ethics commission and an IT ad hoc committee. Thursday night at the DeWitt County Board meeting, Board Chair Joe Whitty updated on the status of the Ethics Commission, noting this is a committee that is largely called upon for ethics investigations.
Somebody was asking about the DeWitt County Ethics Commission. I know we haven't had these up for appointment previously, but somebody may recall there was a statute that basically outlined the county's responsibilities in getting an ethics committee set up. We have this in our ordinance, but we've never filled those positions. And so we need representatives from both parties. And we reached out to both the DeWitt County Democratic chair and Republican chair for some suggestions. And we got Mr. Summers with us here tonight, I believe. Ethics committee, we hope that they are never put to work, but just in case, it's good to have some names in there in the event that we were to get a complaint that required some investigation and some recommendation.
The IT ad hoc committee met earlier this month, and Pat Ryan made note of the discovery of the help they need, in fact, needed to keep the county's digital information safe.
We did meet on September 11th. Carrie Lovelace from Hart Technologies has been meeting with us and been very helpful. We've been working on setting up the process for cyber incident response. There's three things that are needed. One, policies, procedures, and playbooks. Policies to limit the vulnerability to cyber attack, and also to build up a cybersecurity culture within the building. For example, acceptable use policy, multi-factor authentication, and just various policies like that that need to be put in place. There needs to be a procedure put in place that, for example, defines the cybersecurity champion, the incident response leader, the public information officer, if you want to call it that, a technical leader. So a procedure that sets up the team that would respond to an incident. And the third thing is the playbooks for how you respond to an incident. And there's various categories of incidents. For example, email compromise, malware affecting business processes, ransomware, and there's just a whole list. We're working through that. I guess I thought that the committee would be able to do more with our level of knowledge than turned out that we need the IT tech position filled to work with our technologies and to flesh all this out. So that's really the next step, is to hire that guy and start putting meat on the bones of this process.
According to Whitty, the ad hoc committee has a little more work yet to do before its one-year sunset and hopes to see another year granted for this group.
You may recall we established the IT and Compliance Committee as an ad hoc committee for a period of 1 year. We're coming up on that 1 year. And so we're having some discussions. Do we have value in maybe establishing at least the IT portion of that permanently? So I think as we get up to the December timeframe, we're going to have a recommendation. Either we continue it for another year as an ad hoc committee, or if it makes sense at that time to go permanent, we can discuss that. But at this point, we're kind of leaning towards maybe just establish another year-long ad hoc committee and try to drive some things to completion in that time frame.
Thursday night, the DeWitt County Board approved Brenda Reeser, Joseph Summers, and Aaron Kmeyer to the Ethics Committee. The Warner Library hosts spots at its property for vendors at the annual Apple and Pork Festival. Bobby Perryman, executive director of the library, explains they are looking to give away free books during the Apple and Pork weekend. Perryman says they do this to educate folks on what your local library can do for you because many attendees come from out of town.
So we do. The library has a table. We have a booth as well out on the green space, and we're not selling anything, but we are giving away free books, so anyone can come in and get a book. And we also just talk about library services, programs we have upcoming, and also what your library can do for you. So I know we get a lot of out-of-town people for Apple and Pork, but most people, you've got a library in your town or near you as well, and library offers a lot more than you realize. So we try to get that word out as well. And the Friends will have a table as well where they'll talk about the Friends. And also something that the Friends started last year that I think is amazing, and I'm looking forward to it this year, is they have some booths set aside for nature booths. So the Illinois Department of Natural Resources and Mettler Woods, they have booths, and Weldon Springs Foundation will have one just talking about Illinois nature and what you can see around here.
Perryman notes the Friends of the Library have taken over responsibility of renting out these spots on the green space and says they're looking for those who sell crafts and other homemade items.
So the library owns a green space on North Center Street, so like behind the library building. And every year we would rent that out for vendors. It's a lot of work, and it kind of got to be a lot for staff also trying to do our regular library work. So the Friends graciously took over running it. So other than that, it's basically the same. The spots are $85. They're 10 by 10 spots, and that's $85 for the entire weekend, so for both days. The library is a tram stop, so you get a lot of traffic. If you are a vendor, the kind of vendors that the Friends accept are people that make like homemade items. Like we've got soap makers and wood artisans and body painting. We've got dips and other foods you can buy. So that's kind of what they're looking for. So if you make any kind of craft products or anything like that, you can email the Friends at, this is all one word, Friends of the Warner Library @gmail.com to secure your spot, because there are a few left.
Ron Sprague with the Friends of the Library is looking forward to seeing everyone and hopefully having good weather for this year's festival. He says many of the vendors are coming back year after year, which makes his job much easier.
As always, big enthusiastic. What am I looking forward to? Good weather. Attendance, always enthusiastic. And they've been doing it for so long that it's very, very well organized. You know, it really is. I mean, the whole town comes together, and it's amazing, the weekend of Apple and Pork. It really, really is. Mark out the spaces, solicit a lot of the booth space is repeat, which makes it easier for both sides. I want the same space I had last year. Are you coming again? So it makes it a lot easier, and that works up on the museum grounds as well. It's repeat business, but we still have a little room, a couple of spaces left. If you'd like to do something new, contact the library or the Friends.
Perryman notes that the funds raised from the library, raised by the Apple and Pork weekend, go to the Friends of the Library, who pour back into the Warner Library.
Hope to see everybody there. We're very excited about it every year. And of course, the funds raised go right back into helping out the library. And also just want to mention, of course, that the DeWitt County Museum is a separate entity and they own the Apple and Pork name. But come up and make a day of it. Come visit us and absolutely go down to the grounds and support the museum as well.
The Apple and Pork Festival takes place again Saturday, September 27th, and Sunday, September 28th. You can learn more by finding the Apple and Pork Festival's Facebook page. You can also learn more about the Warner Library by visiting vwarner.org and find the Friends of the Warner Library on Facebook. News time is 18 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Friday. We've got plenty more coming your way next on The Morning Show.
Experience the power of better connection with Connexus Fiber Internet. Connexus delivers ultra-fast, reliable speeds to keep you connected at the speed of life. Whether you're working from home, streaming your favorite shows, or gaming with your friends, Connexus has you covered. Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to Fiber Fast Internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
Selection for a new Chevrolet is here at Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. This is Scott Baum. Yes, from the Corvettes to the Suburbans and everything to help your family or business, Chevrolet has value options for your needs. This month, see our Silverado trucks in 1500, 2500, and 3500s in gas or diesel. Our Silverados have big savings with more discounts if you trade yours in. Chevrolet, together let's drive. BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
News time, 19 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Friday. I'm Seth Lawrence with you folks today for this expanded local newscast. He's calling it a second burst of summer and warm and dry conditions continue to impact Illinois this week. John Baronic is a DTN Ag meteorologist.
I mean, we had a couple of nice weeks of some milder air. Felt like fall, and then Mother Nature said, I'm going back to summer. So she brought in the upper 80s and 90s back into the forecast, and looks like they'll be sticking around here for a couple more days. We do, however, have this really very, very slow system moving out in the plains. It'll finally make its way over probably around Friday. It looks like we'll finally see some showers out of that. And it's moving really, really slow. So we should get multiple days of shower chances. I have to kind of preface that with just chances for showers. Basically Friday through Monday. So we've got about a 4-day window there where I think we've got a good chance for some rainfall to occur. Obviously, it's going to break some cloud cover even if we don't get the rain consistently. So we'll have a chance for a little break in the heat, but temperatures are still going to stay in the 80s or around 80. Not only through this period, but then after it leaves into next week as well. Looks like temperatures are going to be bouncing around maybe the far upper 70s, but most likely in the lower 80s for next week.
The southern two-thirds of Illinois is showing up on the U.S. Drought Monitor as abnormally dry or in moderate drought status. September 15th through the 21st is Farm Safety Week in Illinois, highlighting the dangers farmers face every day and the importance of taking steps to avoid accidents. Farming remains one of the most dangerous jobs in the country, with more than 500 fatalities nationwide each year. Most are caused by tractor accidents, but other hazards like grain bin cave-ins, pesticides, and even working with livestock in tougher weather conditions all pose risks.
Without a doubt, farmers put in a lot of long hours during this time of the year. It's a short period, maybe September through October, maybe early November, but it's long hours because it's very dependent upon the weather. And so they may be out before daylight and working, of course, way after dark. So a lot of hours, very few breaks. It's important that farmers remember to take a break from time to time. And after many hours on a machine, maybe just shut down for a few minutes and walk around the cab, walk around the machine, just get a breath of fresh air.
Farm safety doesn't just apply to those working in the fields. It also extends to the public. Motorists are often asked to be mindful when sharing the road and slow down with slow-moving farm vehicles, which can limit visibility.
Without a doubt, farmers put in a lot of long hours during this time of the year. It's a short period, maybe September through October, maybe early November, but it's long hours because it's very dependent upon the weather. And so they may be out before daylight and working, of course, way after dark. So a lot of hours, very few breaks. It's important that farmers remember to take a break from time to time. And after many hours on a machine, maybe just shut down for a few minutes and walk around the cab, walk around the machine, just get a breath of fresh air.
That's why Farm Safety Week is a reminder for both farmers and the general public. Staying cautious can save lives. The Central A&M School District is beginning the new academic year with a balanced budget. Earlier this week, the Board of Education approved the new budget. Despite typical difficulties with revenue and reduced funding, federal funding, the school board looks to move along with projects in progress. They're also hoping to make improvements to the traffic setup at the high school. Superintendent Sasha Young raised some of the underlying concerns surrounding the start and end of the school day, along with softball games.
This is year 3 for me. In the last couple of years, I've had a lot of concerns about parent pickup and drop off, and just kind of like the chaos of the flow of traffic in front of our Mowequa building. I've also had some concerns brought to me about parking for softball games. As you know, if you've attended a softball game at Mowequa, you notice that most of the cars are parked on the street or in the grass between the Gregory Intermediate playground and the softball field, which probably isn't the best place to park either. So we did start talking about maybe solving both of those concerns with adding a parking lot kind of to the campus, more of a opportunity to make a better flow for both the school day as well as some of those softball events that we host.
As for other projects, the district's schools over the summer, many of them are complete while others are nearly done.
So we have our AC project was completed. The library and the all-purpose room were able to stay cool in this last little bit of a heat wave. Our roofing project has been completed at the Mowequa campus, and we are, I would say, in swing of our door project. We're just waiting on shipping and delivery, right? We're at the mercy, just like everyone else, of getting those products. And then once those doors come, we will work through that project the rest of this first semester and have all of our new doors on the Mowequa campus, hopefully by Thanksgiving, I would say, or Christmas at the latest. But the plan is to just work that door by door so we can keep the building secure through the project. And when it's all done, the whole building will be more secure and more safe and look amazing.
While Young is happy the district board put together and passed a balanced budget, she acknowledges rising costs could create issues in the future.
We're feeling great. Obviously, being mindful of our spending is super important to us, right? And making sure that we don't take on anything that, we can't afford. So it is a balanced budget. We are doing fine. And we're just always being mindful of what we buy and making sure we're getting the best product for our money, and those expenses are always climbing, right?
Yes.
Salaries increase with the cost of living and even like copy paper and toilet paper and all of those costs, are increasing just as you would see it as a homeowner or, as a family that budgets, you see those costs rising. And so it's also rising for school districts.
Young is in her 3rd year at Central A&M. She previously served as the principal of Clinton Elementary School. Chapter visits are ramping up for major state FFA officers. Ethan Bremer is from the Pearl City FFA chapter and serves as state FFA reporter.
So I'm visiting sections 3, 5, 14, 17, and 25. So 25 obviously is the complete opposite end of the state from my house. So I'm really looking forward to something like that where, you visit the entire scenery of Illinois on the drive down through the state and you kind of see everything it has to offer and stuff like that. And really, we've already traveled almost the entire state already, it seems like, because we've done so much traveling over the summer. So yeah, chapter visits, they are kind of getting you away from your house best they can. It's with 3 people from District 1, it's kind of hard and also in a way to, get everyone completely out of the district and further away from home because we have so many people that are in the same area across the state, same geographic location. But we're doing our best and we're all kind of getting away from home quite a ways. No matter where you're going, you're getting away somewhere.
There are now 6 major state FFA officers in Illinois with the state sentinel position added last June. The clock is ticking yet again on another government shutdown, and even with a stronghold on Capitol Hill, Republicans need Democratic support. Illinois senior Democrat Dick Durbin, who's not seeking re-election, is willing to rally Democrats to work with Republicans on a bill to keep the government open.
Here's what it boils down to. There are 53 Republican senators. You need 60 votes in the Senate to pass something. So that means you need some Democrats who will join them in a bipartisan effort. We're ready. We've passed 3 appropriation bills on a bipartisan basis, and we can do that again for the other bills, nine of them that are needed, and we should. I think that the Appropriations Committee is the way to go. But for some reason, the Republicans don't want to sit down at the table with us. It's just not a positive thing. I think the orders are coming from the White House. The confrontation is okay, and ultimately we'll win it. But the uncertainty and the image that it creates of our government and the people in charge is not good.
This week, Republicans unveiled a stopgap bill that would extend the current funding levels. However, it still needs to pass the House and the Senate. What are the latest notable changes within the USDA September meat production and price forecast from the previous month? Rod Bain has more. News time is 29 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Friday. Coverage of news brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and by Connexus, providing fiber internet to Clinton. Learn more at DeWittDailyNews.com. Coming up on 7:30, network news comes your way. Then it's a Football Friday in sports. High school football week 4 action. Can't believe it's already week 4 of the high school football season. Another week of college football and NFL on the slate. Those stories and more next in sports.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. Fed up with Democrat delay tactics denying the president his personnel choices, Senate Republicans, thanks to a recent rules change, have confirmed 48 Trump nominees in a single block vote. The president shedding no tears over the suspension of ABC TV personality Jimmy Kimmel. Mr. Trump says Kimmel said some horrible things about the late Charlie Kirk and was canned for bad ratings. President says it's no free speech issue. The York County, Pennsylvania DA says a stalker armed with a rifle was hiding inside his former girlfriend's home on Wednesday afternoon when police showed up to arrest him. He ambushed the officers, killing 3 of them. The gunman was subsequently shot dead by police. Watching Wall Street ahead of this morning's opening bell, the Dow futures are up 33 points, NASDAQ futures 38 points higher. More details at srnnews.com.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. Despite the lopsided score, Clinton is hoping the positive things they did last week will carry over into tonight's Heart of Central Illinois Conference tilt, with Tuscola coming off a 55-0 loss to state-ranked Seneca. Coach Ron Bass was pleased with some of the things he saw from his defense and believes some of the offensive issues will be worked out over the next few weeks.
Yeah, progress, process. And yeah, I felt like, the first half, if we don't give up that score right before halftime, you go into halftime feeling really good about the fact, you're playing one of the best teams in the state. Their previous 2 opponents, they had already put 40 points on at halftime. And, here we were, giving them everything they could handle. But unfortunately, we talk about you got to put 4 quarters of that together and to have that opportunity to knock off a state-ranked team. But we did talk a lot about, the improvements and things that went well. I felt like our defense played really well, forcing some burn-outs. Offensively, we're still struggling to get an identity, but kind of hoping that'll kind of work itself out over the next couple of weeks.
The Maroons made a change at quarterback before last week's game. Josh Bass took over under center, and Keaton Graves moved to the receiver position. Coach Bass says the decision to make the switch was to improve the perimeter game.
Well, yeah, it's almost we didn't have much of a perimeter game the first couple games, and when you don't have you're up front, you're not great up front. Then you got
a kid like Keaton taking a beating, in between the tackles. And so this will allow us to get the ball out to him quickly on the perimeter, screen game, or down the field. He's a great receiver. Kudos to him and Josh both for just being, hey, let's go ahead and they were open to making that change. But yeah, it's one of those things where we just didn't have any perimeter presence, and so getting Keaton in space is always gonna benefit us offensively. Well, I think we kind of split reps in practice this past week. I know Keaton and I had sat down and talked at the beginning of the week last week. And those are some of the things we talked about, and so didn't officially make a decision until last Thursday. But one of those things where now we'll see how things have progressed with a full week of having Josh get reps, getting all the reps at quarterback. But no, it was one of those things we weren't really sure at first, but then we did have a practice where offensively, when we made the switch, things were just a little bit more efficient. Like I said, especially on the edge and being able to do some things there.
With the first third of the regular season now in the books, Coach Bass is focusing on the improvements his kids have made, not the record.
I think obviously the record isn't what you want it to be, but when you're rebuilding with a younger group, and then that you're just looking for improvement. And so far, I feel like of the first 3 games we've improved. We're going to continue to focus on that, improving every week, and told the kids, there's better days coming. If you keep battling and you keep working on getting better, you're gonna surprise somebody. You're gonna knock somebody off who's gonna take you for granted. So hopefully our kids take that message to heart. And I know it's not easy when you're always losing, but I definitely think the improvement over the first 3 games. I've been pleased with that.
The 0-3 Maroons will stick with their change at quarterback when they visit Tuscola tonight. Coach Bass says the defense will be challenged by the Warriors' size.
Well, you're going to see that they're going to be big up front. Maybe not as quick as the players you saw from Seneca, but definitely big. They've got a back that's really, really good. He's a legit running back, and he's going to, they're going to try to get the ball to him as much as possible. He's a 4-year starter there, so it's definitely going to be a challenge for us defensively, and then of course offensively, trying to improve and get a little bit of consistency and get some drives going, and not just be so quick to be 3 and out. We're gonna stay with that and just continue to work that. Like I said, I like some things about our screen game, down the field passing. If we can protect, that's one of the big things. Fortunately, Josh is a pretty big, strong kid, and so he can take a little bit more of that abuse, just because of his size. So, we'll see. Trying to get some jets and some rocket sweeps going, and screen game, and then see what we can do with our options.
Tuscola is 2-1 on the season, coming off a 1-point loss to Tri-Valley last week. Kickoff tonight is 7 o'clock. Hear the action right here on WHOW and all our digital platforms. Tonight in the heart of Illinois, Ridgeview Lexington hosts Ridgeview. GCMS is at El Paso Gridley. Hayworth hosts Tremont. Tri-Valley's at DMAC. Leroy visits Fieldcrest. Central A&M hosts Madison. And Shelbyville is at Warrensburg Latham. Off a 36-14 win last week over Rantoul on the road, Monticello football coach Coley Welter wasn't pleased with his team's performance coming into tonight's homecoming matchup with Decatur St. Teresa. The Hall of Fame coach challenged his team to work to get better this week.
Yeah, I think it depends on the group, but I think for us, we felt like we needed to challenge our kids a little bit. We always put notes on the film, like every position coach writes notes on each play from the game before, so we can let them know what they did wrong, what they did well. But yeah, we definitely challenged them to step it up, because it's certainly not the effort up to our expectations. We're not executing very well. We still need to know our playbook a little bit better. I tried to simplify things a little bit this week, because sometimes I could be the problem by trying to ask them to do too much, but really that's one area of frustration, is we've got to get better with our assignments and our execution. Like I said, we started off well, but then we turned the ball over, and then we had that sort of a choppy series where we ended up scoring, but from then on it was just kind of disconnected, and we just it was one of those things, and one of you said it after the game. It was one of those things where we would get 4 or 5 guys doing the right thing, but we'd have 2 or 3 on each play that didn't. So it was just a real combination of execution, lack of effort in some cases, and just assignment errors.
While St. T has been down relative to their standards the last few years, Coach Welter says they have some talent and good athletes. The 2-1 Sages cannot take anyone for granted right now.
Well, they're a talented group. They were a playoff team last year. I know they believe they're a playoff team this year. They have some quality athletes. We were impressed with their line. They decent size, but they get off the ball well and they play to the whistle. So we've been impressed with that aspect. They're young. There are a lot of sophomores and juniors that are playing, but definitely a competitive ball club. Offensively, they're more of a, like say, 20 personnel. They'll run a lot of slot type formations. They'll put some guys in jet motion, a lot of quick game. They will take some shots down the field. They played 3 different quarterbacks. The sophomore kid got hurt in week 2. He's supposed to be back tonight. They use a lot of different kids, and they're a pretty good balance of run and pass. Defensively, they play more of a 4-2-5. They'll be aggressive with their corners. They'll press a little bit. They will blitz. They'll blitz in situations. They'll blitz formations. Their defensive ends will get upfield. The defensive line has looked pretty good, so that's definitely a concern for us. But just solid everywhere. We'll see what kind of pressure they bring. If they'll be aggressive with their linebackers, we have to run good routes. We have to make good reads. But ultimately, just get off the ball, play the whistle, do the things that winning programs do.
Homecoming week can often present unique challenges for a football team, from the activities throughout the week to the parade Friday before the game and all the weekend festivities. But Coach Welter has been pleased with his team's focus so far this week.
Yeah, I've been really pleased. And again, I understand homecoming is it's an experience, and kids get to do it, a few times in their life, and I want them to enjoy it. So we don't, dismiss that aspect, but we always talk about the homecoming is homecoming because there's a football game, and so that's got to be our number one priority. And I've been very happy with how the kids have come out and kind of licked their wounds a little bit. They've kind of taken accountability for, the way we played Friday night, and I've seen a definite improvement in practice this week. So let's hope that translates to the game.
Game time tonight is 7 o'clock. Hear all the action on 95.9 FM, WEZC, and online at DeWittDailyNews.com. Tonight in the Illini Prairie Conference, BCC hosts Rantoul. PBL is at Prairie Central. Pontiac hosts IVC, and it's a showdown between Tolono Unity and St. Joe Ogden tonight in St. Joe. Tonight in the Apollo Conference, Charleston plays host to Effingham. Mahomet Seymour takes on Taylorville, and Mount Zion hosts Mattoon. In the Big 12 this week, Normal West takes on in-town rival Bloomington. Champaign Centennial hosts Danville. Peoria is at Peoria Manual. Peoria Notre Dame plays host to Peoria Richwoods, and Champaign Central is at Urbana. This week in the Central State 8, Jacksonville is at Springfield Lanphier. Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin hosts Quincy Notre Dame. Saturday action in Springfield is Springfield High hosting Springfield Southeast. Decatur Eisenhower is at Decatur MacArthur. Lincoln hosts Normal U High, and Rochester hosts Chatham Glenwood. Lincoln Prairie action this week. Sangamon Valley is at Arcola. Argenta Oriena hosts Ala. Sarah Gordo will play host to Sullivan. Nokomis hosts Villa Grove, and Toledo Cumberland hosts Oakland Tri-County. This week in the Sangamo, Maroa Forsyth plays host to Petersburg Porta. Riverton is at New Berlin. Auburn visits Pleasant Plains. Olympia hosts Athens. And Williamsville will play host to Pittsfield. In the Mid-Illini this week, Limestone is at Dunlap. East Peoria hosts Canton. Metamora is at Morton. And Washington will host Pekin. Non-conference action this week, Fisher hosts Westmont. And Normal Community plays host to Kankakee. 8-man football this week, Decatur Unity Christian is at Pawnee. Edwardsville Metro East Lutheran plays host to Blue Ridge. Meridian is at Palestine. And Champaign St. Thomas More is at South Fork. Illinois is coming off a 38-0 blanking last week against Western Michigan as they prepare for a showdown with the 19th-ranked Indiana Hoosiers Saturday night in Bloomington, Indiana. The Illini turned a 10-0 lead into the predicted beatdown, scoring on their first three possessions of the second half. Illinois quarterback Luke Altmaier has completed 71.8% of his passes for 709 yards and 8 touchdowns this season with 0 interceptions. Meanwhile, Cal transfer Fernando Mendoza has been even more accurate for Indiana at 72.4% and checks in at 708 yards with 9 scores and no picks, but he'll have to do it without a key offensive weapon for this year's remainder of it, as running back Lee Beebe injured his right knee against Indiana State. The basics of winning football doesn't change for Indiana coach Curt Cignetti, regardless of where his team is, preparing to hammer Indiana State or grinding for a Big Ten Conference showdown. Game time is 6:30 on Saturday. The non-conference portion of the season comes to a close this weekend when 4th-ranked Illinois State welcomes Northern Alabama to Hancock Stadium. UNA is off to a 1-2 start to the year as the Lions picked up their first win of the season last week against Northeastern State, 49-21 at home. Northern Alabama has been hard to stop on the ground. The Lions averaged 244.7 yards per game rushing and have scored 6 of their 9 touchdowns this season via the ground. The 2-1 Redbirds needed 2 touchdowns in the final 6 minutes to beat Eastern Illinois on the last week at O'Brien Field in Charleston. Luke Melander finished with a career-high 109 yards and a score on 5 receptions. Ty Niekamp recorded a career-high 14 tackles in the win over the Panthers and was credited with 2 tackles for loss to lead the way for the Redbirds defense. 3 touchdowns for Wankers Wright were a career high, and the senior finished with 94 yards on 14 carries against EIU. Game time is noon on Saturday. Get sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. Slight chance of thunderstorms today, otherwise cloudy skies expected. High temperatures reach up to 86. Westerly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 63. Tonight, chance of thunderstorms. Highs around 85. Tomorrow, chance of thunderstorms. Hear weather twice an hour or online anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com. Right now, 64.
Let's check Ag News on the RFD Radio Network. I'm DeLoss Yonke. Recent analysis by University of Illinois Farm Dog team members shows machinery costs followed the same path as other inputs and accelerated the last 2 years. Overall, the most recent machinery cost estimates in Illinois, calculated by using an economic engineering approach that relies on formula